What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. Another game, another week to potentially save ourselves. It is Villa away. Sun is shining. There is nothing that can ruin this weekend. Nothing will ruin this weekend because Spurs have got to do the business. Zerbi has come out fighting. Let's hope the players can follow suit and come out fighting at Villa Park on Sunday night. There's a lot of kind of different narratives going into this game, which we'll get into in a bit. But yeah, look, I'm feeling a bit positive, you know, with the sun shining. I'm not sure if it's the sun or it's just my usual Friday hype, because you know how it goes. You know, after the game, all down in the dumps, and then as the days progress, the weather gets a bit better as the days progress, and ready to go again.
After listening to Zerbi's press conference, it's got me all pumped. It's got me all right. Let's go this weekend. We can do it. We can win. There's no reason why not. We've got the players to win. We're good enough to win, and I think Zerbi has come out swinging in his press conference, and that's got me all fired up. I have to say I've been a bit of a negative Nancy this week with all the injuries and looking resigned. It's hard not to be too down with the more and more injuries we've been getting, but I like what Zerbi's saying. He's trying to reframe the conversation, and I think it's an important message to hear, because right now, with the position we're in, I think it's hard not to be negative. It's hard not to look at the situation and think it's getting close to a lost cause. But you know what? We're not dead yet. We're still in this fight, and I credit Zerbi with a lot of what he's saying in his press conference.
Exactly. Let's not lay down our guns. Let's not, let's come out fighting on Sunday night. Villa have got their own things to deal with, so let's hope that can swing in our favour a little bit. But we've got to hope results go for us as well, with Burnley playing away at Leeds tonight, which, I don't really expect too much. But under new management, you never know. You never know what could happen. And if that happens and Spurs get a result, suddenly there's 3 points in it between Spurs and Leeds.
True.
West Ham away to Brentford. That's no easy game. I know Brentford haven't won in a while, but they're a very good side and potentially going for Europe this season. And Nottingham Forest on Monday going away to Chelsea. So everyone's got difficult games this weekend. Well, barring Leeds.
Yeah. Exactly. It's all to play for. And if we get our job done, I am confident if we do beat Villa, which again is not going to be easy, but if we do win, I'm certain that one of the two teams, West Ham or Forest, are going to drop points and we'll close the gap. Potentially both of them. I think there's a good chance both of them drop points, but at least one of them will. So all we got to do is concentrate on ourselves. We got to get that result. We're playing against a team who, as you say, have other distractions and other motivations probably at the moment. So we've just got to make sure we go there, give our all, and get that result.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into these firing words and firing talk from Roberto Zerbi, because I thought it was a breath of fresh air. It's someone actually standing up for the club and standing against the narrative of many fans and the media. I was loving and hanging on every word he was saying, to be honest.
Yeah, it's interesting. So Michael Bridge opens up the press conference saying, with the first question, he said, you've got more injuries this week. You've been really unlucky. What do you want to, how are you going to cope with all these injuries, essentially? And he basically just, I think he had a pre-prepared monologue, because he was like, I just want to get something off my chest. Essentially, he goes, listen, I want to be clear one time. The most important challenge now is to silence the voice inside of us, inside the players, inside of the staff, and inside of the fans. The voice can produce negative thoughts. The voice says we are unlucky. We have too many injuries. We lost Xavi Simons. He was he was the last two games one of the best players, the most important players for us. Our medical staff is not good enough. The pitch in this and the stadium is not good enough. The pitch of the training ground is no good. It's impossible to win 2 or 3 games in a row because we have not won too many games in 2026. I think it's all negative things and it's all rubbish, because I want to keep my focus on ourselves and the quality of my players. We go to play against one of the best teams in this moment in the Premier League. We have a big respect for Unai Emery as a coach, but if Tottenham win at Villa Park, it's not a miracle. Maybe we lose, I don't know. But we have the quality to win this game, and it's not a miracle. So I think we have to be positive. We have to be obviously we have to be lucky because we are working. We have to feel like we're lucky because we're working in a big club. If Solanke and Xavi are injured, we can play with Moani. We've got Tell, we've got Richarlison. And I think they are not worse players. They are different and have different characteristics, but they are very good players. We have Porro, we have Udogie, we have Van der Ven, we have Bentancur, we have Paulinho, we have Gallagher, and Gallagher too. Well, he said Gallagher twice. Yeah, he actually did say that in the press conference. He said Gallagher and Gallagher too. Gallagher and Gallagher too. I think maybe, I don't know what he meant. Maybe he misspoke. For that, all these things, I have not too much to listen to hear these negative things. So he just went on this like long monologue about a lot of the negativity that has been spread around about Tottenham this week. Obviously, off the back of our first win, it got compounded with those two major injuries to two quite important attacking players. But he's trying to reframe the narrative. He's also kind of find it quite interesting. He brought up the stadium because it definitely does seem to be something, obviously us included, a lot of people have been talking about, especially this week. It seems to be something a lot of people are pushing, that the retractable pitch, is it causing these injuries? Is it not good enough? Obviously, the medical team, off the back of what happened with Xavi on the last weekend, they've been in full focus. They've been in full focus for a while, but definitely been much more of a talking point this week. Haven't heard too many people talking about the training pitch, but he's brought up the training pitch as well. But clearly, he's trying to battle against some of these narratives and some of these talking points from, I think, fans, but also the media this week, especially after we've lost two players and a lot of people saying, oh, Tottenham got no chance now. He's trying to reframe the conversation, saying, look, those players are out, we can't do anything about it, but the players we do have available, they're good enough to win games, they're good players, and we've got to have belief in them, essentially.
Yeah, look, I think when he's talking about all the stuff that we've been speaking about in the build-up, about medical team, about stadium, about this, about that, he's not been here long enough to know what the true issues are and everything like that. And everything like that conversation can be parked until the end of the season, because there's nothing anyone can do about that right now. We're not going to get a new pitch. We're not going to get a new medical team. Everything is going to be as it is until the end of the season at the very least. So there is no point talking about it right now. You know, we're going to talk about it because that's what fans do during the week when there's no game on. We have to talk about all these kind of things. But when a game comes round, there is nothing you can do but support the team. And I think, you know, the fans on social media obviously have been speaking heavily about these kind of things. But when it comes to match-going fans, I think what he's talking about, the fans have been doing that, particularly inside the stadium. You were there at Wolves. I was there at Brighton last week. Sunderland as well. Like, these last three games, the support from the fans have been incredible. And, you know, it's very easy for the Spurs fans to just lay down and accept defeat. But it doesn't. I don't think that Spurs fans are actually doing that inside the ground. I feel like we're supporting the team till the bitter end, till the very end. And the fighting talk from Zerbi, I think, is being echoed by the match-going fans right now. I really believe that.
Yeah, I think it's just more about, I guess a lot of it comes from social media. A lot of it comes from, especially when bad things happen, there's a big, wave of negativity, and a lot of people say, me included, when I had these injuries, I'm like, God, that's another nail in the coffin. That's another disaster for us, and it's hard not to feel that way. Obviously, when
Romero got introduced, that's it. It's done. There's no way out of that.
Another nail in the coffin. I'm like, how are we going to get out of this? But you know what? Zerbi, I love the way he's speaking. I love the way he's talking to us fans. I love the way he's talking to the media and trying to put out the message that we can't cry about the situation. We can't change the situation. This is what we're in, and we are good enough to get out of the situation with the players that we got available. So there's no point thinking about what we don't have. Let's focus about what we do have. Let's focus about what we can do, what we can't, rather than what we can't do. And I absolutely love that. And we're going to need that mentality if we're going to stomach this fight and we're going to get through it and win it. If we're going to win this fight.
Everything Zerbi has said and done since coming into Tottenham has all been about confidence boosting. Every single word that he says in the press conference is all to try and get a bit of confidence in this club. And I'm loving the way he's standing up for the club. I love the way Ange stood up for the club, and Zerbi's doing exactly the same, trying to, rewrite what's going on in the press right now.
Going more onto what he said, it's like I think some people asked about the negativity, surrounding what has been happening this week, and he said it's like we're all crying and we're relegated. No, not yet. We have to die on the pitch, and it's just 2 points. It's not the best moment. It's a tough moment, but only losers cry. They think negatively. I don't want people close to me crying, and I think in a different way to me. We are good enough to win the games, and we are good enough to stay up. Then we will see. It's a unique. It's the unique way I know to work hard and to give my best. But it's interesting, like talking about a lot of people. Obviously, basically crying about being sad about the situation, being resigned to the situation. He doesn't want any of that mentality and doesn't want any of that negativity.
Yeah, and it was the same to what he said after the Brighton game. He said, if any player comes in with a negative attitude or sad, long face, he's going to send him straight home. He just wants that positivity around and to try and raise those confidence levels. Goes back to those confidence levels again.
100%. He's asked, is there too much negativity in football? He says, yes, we lost a lot of players to injury. We lost 2 points with Brighton. In Sunderland, we conceded one stupid goal, and I think we didn't deserve to lose the game just in my time. If you imagine before what happened, so he's saying just in my time, we probably deserved to beat Brighton, we obviously beat Wolves, and we didn't deserve to lose Sunderland, and some of those things didn't go our way, and that's only in these 3 games. So he's saying, if you imagine even before what happened, before I came, I can understand the players, but there is just one way if you want to avoid having regrets in the future. To do that, you have to remove everything from our heads and our memories and take it game by game, training by training, to find the right organisation and the confidence in ourselves, showing our quality. If we do that, we are good enough to win the game.
Yeah.
So he's kind of just like pointing out, yes, things have gone against us. He's even saying, I've been here for 3 games and I can see what the things are going against us and what's happened. So imagine even before the amount of games, obviously, that we had, 20, however many games before I even came, the amount of things that went against Tottenham before I was even here. So I can imagine, the sense of everything's going not our way, and that's the feeling. And he was kind of saying, I understand it, but we can't think about that now. We got to put that behind us. We got to just take it now, game by game, just look forward and look at the challenge ahead.
Yeah, look, we could all sit there and cry about what's happened all season, and we do. And every time we don't win a game, it really hurts for the next 2 or 3 days, and then it gets to the latter stage of the week, and you're like, all right, we're ready to go again. And that's what it's got to be. It's 11 v 11 on the pitch at the end of the day. Anyone can win on any given day, so we've got to have some luck going up in our favour as well. We've had no luck all season. It's got to come at some point, surely.
Let's hope. And then again, let's try not rely on luck, maybe, is what he's trying to say as well. We have to, be ourselves. Obviously, he said you need a little bit of luck, obviously, but you also need to be good enough to win. And that's what we got to focus on. We haven't been good enough, but we can be good enough. We have the players to be good enough, is what he's trying to say. On the Spurs squad, he was asked why he's so positive about the Spurs squad. And he said, I'm not positive. I want to be realistic. So for that, I feel this pressure to change the perspective. You can see it in different ways. One way is we are unlucky. We are at the bottom of the table. In the other perspective is we play with the Doggy, Porro, Bentacle, Basuma, Gallagher, Richarlison and Mawani. Mawani, 2 years ago, PSG paid 70 million, and they are not stupid. He is a top player. Matisse Tell is one of the best young players in Europe, and Richarlison is in the Brazilian national team. So he's trying to, pump up these players. He's trying to say, look, we've lost good players, but we have good players available to come in. We have players who are capable of winning us games. That's what he's trying to instill in this team. Obviously, we've had a lot of debates. What do we do? He's, going into the game against Villa, do we drop this player, that player? But he's trying to basically, those are the only attackers that we've got available. That is the truth. But he's trying to give them confidence, tell them what good players they are, and hopefully we can inspire them to get the most out of them.
Yeah, he's been doing this in every single press conference. That's nothing new. He's been trying to build up these players. Hasn't really worked, particularly with the attacking players, in my opinion. But there are 4 more games left to save it, so let's hope something can click within these players. I think you're looking at Richarlison. He's been there, done it in a relegation battle, and he's like, it looked like at times single-handedly he was keeping Everton up at that time, and we haven't seen that kind of version of Richarlison, which we need to see starting this weekend. Kolo Muani, I hope he's not a lost cause, but the way I talk about him and the way he's playing, he seems like a lost cause right now. And look, I get it, PSG paid 70 million, but also Chelsea paid a hefty fee for Timo Werner. Players go for big money and then their career derails sometimes. So let's hope that's not happening. We need him. We need him for these last 4 games.
On the mood in the camp, he was talking about was the mood lifted by the win last week. At the beginning of the week, we suffered these new injuries, but today they worked very well. It was one of the best trainings in my time. I was sincere also with them before the training, but I cannot say anything with them, with their attitudes or behaviour. They have been fantastic. So he's saying today or yesterday was the best training session he's had since he's come to Spurs. That's nice.
No, it's fantastic. But, you know, to be honest, as much as I loved Zerbi's press conference, I'm kind of sick and tired of hearing about them training well and looking positive in training, and the Spurs media team tweeting out, you know, the day before a game saying working hard with a bicep emoji and all this kind of stuff. Like, I'm so past all of that. I just want to see it on the pitch on Sunday. You know what I mean? I've had enough of hearing how well they've been training, because I've been hearing that all season.
Training clips do look decent, no?
Yeah, they do. Matty's tail looked on fire, to be fair.
So let's hope he can take that confidence into the game. Zerbi on how Spurs will approach the Villa game. He says, keeping the ball and showing our qualities, because if we have a chance to win the game, it's because we have great players and fight, run and defend. Everyone together with order and the right organisation, without the ball for sure, because we have to defend, but we have to attack and enjoy the ball, trying one-on-one on the winger's side, play between the line when we have the right time and space. So essentially what we've been trying to do ever since he's come in, keep the ball a lot better than we have. And I think
we have done.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's fair to say, definitely, even though maybe we, in the final third, you know, we've still struggled to create chances. I think it's clear to see, especially when you're comparing to how we were playing under Frank and Tudor, the build-up play, the possession, how we play through the lines, a hell of a lot better, isn't it, already?
Yeah, I mean, I was noticing it the first half of the Wolves game. It's just like, I don't think I've seen Spurs put that many passes together consecutively all season than that first half of Wolves. So I think it is gradually getting better a little bit. The players are learning how to pass again, which is great. But we need to kind of take that and get points from it, because we can put together 100 passes in a row. If you don't get the 3 points, we're not going to stay in the division.
Exactly. So hopefully those passing sequences will start leading places, because at the moment it seems as though when we have that settled possession and we have a lot of the ball, we struggle to breaking teams down. But as soon as if we're counter pressing or we're hitting a team in transition, then we look a bit more fluid and we seem to have more options, which I think does make sense, because that's the whole point of pressing and trying to win the ball up in difficult areas for the opposition, because it leaves spaces for you to play in. So obviously, that makes sense that we do look better in those circumstances. But at the moment, we're having a lot of possession, a lot of the ball. It's like we're getting into the final third pretty well, but then it just seems to slow down, break down, and we seem to run out of ideas very quickly. So obviously, that's not it's going to be even harder now without Javi, but let's just hope with the players we've got available that we start to find different kind of solutions sooner rather than later.
I think what's going to save us in this, if we're going to be saved, it's going to be saved on moments. I don't know if we're good enough, and the players that we got are good enough to build out from the back and play this really expansive football and consistently break teams down. I just think we've got too many injuries for that, and all our kind of flair players are out. So I think we're going to need to rely on moments, and these players that we got can produce moments. They can. So let's hope we get a few that come our way.
And he said on Spurs needing passion to silence the criticism, he says, absolutely, I totally agree. For sure, it's important, the human value, the pride, the dignity, the passion to silence the criticism. Then the football, the qualities and everything is about football. But first of all, the other things. So he's just talking about what we like, our fundamentals, the non-negotiables you need in this fight at the bottom. And obviously he was talking about, he was actually asked about the physio team, about the criticism that they've received with the Javi injury. He said, we win together, we lose together. It's not the right time to make polemics or to give responsibilities. Every one of us feels responsibility for a big club, and we have to stay close together. We have to not stay in our own head. And there was another quote. I can't find it here. It
about what?
There was one right at the end. I can't remember what it was about. About at the end of the season, asking about can you fix the injury crisis that we keep having. He says, in the summer we can do everything. We have a lot of time to spend speaking about football, about the transfer market, about everything we can to improve, and we will. So he's hoping everything in the summer will improve all that situation, which obviously
you can't improve everything now, can you?
No, you can't, obviously.
There's no time but to work on the next game ahead. There's a game a week. every game is massive. We don't have time to think about all these other situations right now.
Mm-hmm. On asked about Maddison, so going on to injury news, whether he's available to play some minutes, how he's doing, by the way. He said he's training very well, that's what he said, and asked, does he have a chance against Leeds or Villa? He says, I don't know, I'd like to play him because he's a special player and he's a different player, but we have to consider the physical condition, a lot of things. But I think he can be important in the next 3 games. I'm not sure if he meant 4 games or is he implying from Leeds onwards. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he meant by that exactly. He says he brings experience, personality, calm, because anyway, if you have much experience, you are calmer. You can consider the timing when you have to speak, when you have to say something or not. And I want to stay inside, even if he doesn't play, because when he will be ready to play, I want him 100% inside of the plan of the team, whatever that means. I'm sure he means I want him inside the dressing room. I want him talking to the players. I want him influencing them, giving them confidence. Doesn't sound like he's going to play any minutes this weekend, but it doesn't sound like he's too far away, hopefully. Look, and if you've seen any of the training, there seemed to be a lot of focus on him in the training video. Read into that whatever you want.
Spurs social media team have been so focused on Maddison for the last 2 weeks. Ever since he's kind of come back onto the bench. So, look, I don't think we're too far away from seeing him.
He looked quite good in the training clips.
Yeah, he did. And I think we'll see him against Leeds. I don't think we'll see him this weekend. However, he did say in the press conference, Bentancur, and then he mentioned like 30 minutes in his first game back, and obviously he started. Then he played 90 minutes the next week. So could he be throwing a bit of a red herring in there, or, who knows?
Who knows? Similar to Doggy, he said... he is available, but he's not sure if he's available to either start or maybe play in the second half. So we'll have to wait and see once the team... But again, that's very similar to what he said about Bentancur, and he did end up starting. So I think Doggy is a very important player for him. So I wonder if he will get the nod, especially with the circumstances, or whether he'll be careful. You do have to be careful with the Doggy, though, don't you? Because I think, what was it, against Sunderland? He came back, and then I think... He wanted to bring him off. He did bring him off in that game because he thought he couldn't play 90 minutes. And then against Brighton, he came off and got that little injury and then missed the last game. So the Doggy's one you do have to be careful with, isn't it? He's just constantly having problems.
Yeah, even when we're careful with him, he still has problems. So we just need to keep playing as much as we can in these next 4 games because he's so important to us in terms of providing that extra width on the pitch that we so desperately need and providing that balance on the team. And with him and Porro on either side. Yeah,
for sure. And Vicario remains out. Obviously, he confirmed Solanke has a hamstring injury, so he is unavailable. He said he doesn't know yet if the season is finished or not, but definitely out for the Villa game, of course, which is not unexpected. But yeah, look, in terms of just overall, really good words from Zerbi. I think it's what Tottenham fans need to hear right now. And I think it's what we want to hear from coming out inside the camp. Obviously, actions speak louder than words. It's all about Spurs showing it on the pitch, showing that they are capable of winning the game on Sunday, and that's going to be the most important thing. But I think right now it's important to get the fans believing again and not getting them too down after what has been. There's been a lot of negativity with these injuries and the constant problems, and he just doesn't want us feeling sorry for ourselves. He doesn't want us being victims. He wants us to reframe the narrative that we are still good enough to get out of this fight, and let's just be all in this fight together.
Yeah, absolutely. So good fighting words from Roberto De Zerbi. Let's see how it translates onto the pitch this weekend, because we need to see a better performance. We need to see points this weekend. It is absolutely humongous with all the games going on this week. So it starts tonight with Leeds at home to Burnley. Saturday is West Ham away to Brentford. Sunday is Villa at home to Spurs, and then on Monday it is Chelsea at home to Nottingham Forest. So every day for the whole weekend, going into Monday, there's a game that influences the relegation battle. Obviously, Leeds, if they win, which they most likely will, they'll be out of it. They'll be safe. So you can count them out. But yeah, it does look at this moment in time that it's between West Ham and Tottenham. It looks as though probably a bit too much to do to catch Nottingham Forest. However, if West Ham or Spurs get the 3 points this weekend and Nottingham Forest don't, then that drags them back into it for the final 3 games of the season.
If we win and they lose, they're back in it 'cause there's only 2 points. You can't say they're out of it, and they've still got the Europa League fixtures at the moment. Obviously, second leg they're up 1-0. It's still very tight, so they obviously can't take either of those legs for granted. So, and they've got difficult games. Arguably, they got the hardest game. Well, them or West Ham, but they have hard games left. They don't have any easy games left.
I mean, we do have Chelsea and Villa away.
Yeah, we do, but we also have Leeds and Everton's not easy. But look, they're not easy either.
Nobody has an easy game.
No one has easy games. Everyone has difficult games. So if the gap is 2 points, you got to say they're bang in it. Like that's one game. They're one game away from being dropped into the relegation zone. So. Yeah, they could definitely be dragged back into it this weekend. But if we don't beat Villa, even if they lose to Chelsea, you got to say it's pretty much done. Because 5 points with 3 games to go, I can't see us overdoing that. I can't. But you just got to keep going until it's mathematically impossible, I guess.
Yeah, I think there's a high chance Forest do drop points this weekend. 3 days before the semi-final, they are 1-0 up going into it. It's so thin in balance in terms of between Villa and Nottingham Forest, and I think that result last night in the Europa League is massive for Spurs because it means Villa, they need to put full focus on that second leg. They go into it 1-0 behind. Villa Park, massive second leg still to come. There's a narrative going in with Villa fans that I've seen online that's saying, from a Villa fan, I want Villa to lose to Spurs. So that means that Nottingham Forest are 2 points ahead of Spurs going into that Monday night game. So they have to go full throttle in that Monday night game, which will obviously impact the game on Thursday night. What do you make out of that?
I mean, from a Villa fan's perspective, it kind of makes a lot of sense. It's within their interest to lose the game and rest everyone and give Tottenham an advantage because of how it affects Nottingham Forest, and it heightens the pressure, and it means they can't just take it easy, or they can't rest players in that Chelsea game, and that obviously plays into Villa's hands on Thursday. So I've seen this narrative. Obviously, I don't think they're going to criticise Emre if he plays a strong team on Sunday, but I do find it interesting that there's and maybe subconsciously it can play within the Villa camp, because when you think about if Villa do lose to us, that could actually help them rather than hinder them. And actually,
the reality is, Champions League for them through the league is pretty much done.
Yeah,
they got Burnley next week as well.
And the only real competition is Brighton. Who do they have this weekend? They play Newcastle away, not a guaranteed win. So if let's say Brighton drop points on the Saturday, because they're playing on the Saturday, aren't they? So if they drop points, that would put them, if they lose that game, let's say, that would put Villa 8 points clear, with Brighton only having 3 games left. So that means they need like a point to seal top 5. In that situation, they are very, very comfortable. They're already pretty comfortable. In that situation, they're pretty much there already in Champions League. So from that point of view, full focus can be on trying to win a trophy and trying to bring glory. And obviously, Unai Emery has a brilliant track record and a brilliant history in that competition. So I'm sure he would absolutely love to win it again. So if that helps them, and they already lost, by the way, on Thursday, Onana to injury. So that's already quite a big player for them. So will they want to risk losing even more players to injury ahead of that second leg? So will they rest players again on Sunday to avoid having any more injuries in what's a massive game on Thursday? And if we do win, it just does heap the pressure on Forest. So anything that can play into their hands should. I'm not saying, look, no team loses on purpose, but subconsciously, if we are winning and they've rested a few players, also will it subconsciously, like, in their minds be like, okay, we this game, let's just move on from this game, we've lost it, and let's just move on to Thursday, which is a big game. Well, they'll have half an hour on Thursday
Aston Villa should be approaching this game the way Spurs approached the majority of their league games at the back end of last season. That is the way it should be working out. Because Aston Villa, like I said, pretty much home and hosed in the league. This game on Thursday night is like the biggest game in their recent history. Biggest game since they were last in European finals all those years ago in the 80s, wherever it was. Like, don't underestimate how big this is for Aston Villa. This is mental how big this is. So they really should be focusing more on that than this game. And Unai, got to play a team of kids, mate. You got to play a team of kids. It's the only way. We rested all our players when we went to Villa Park last season at the back end. So it's time to return the favour, Mr. Unai Emery. Come on.
I think you're spot on. Absolutely spot on. I think they should do it, and I think Villa fans should push the narrative.
I've seen them pushing the narrative. I've seen them doing it.
Not enough. Let's get who was the Prime Minister who was a Villa fan? Was it Cameron?
Yeah.
Get David Cameron making statements. Get him on board.
Prince William.
Get Prince William. Get him making public statements saying Unai Emery must rest all players. Make it an official decree.
Yeah,
from the royal family.
I think so. But look, regardless of all that, we are coming up against a team that is banging form right now, particularly at Villa Park.
Yeah.
They are winning game after game. Spurs not doing great on the road. I would say, though, we're not doing great on the road. We just won our last game, 118 days in the making. Our last two out of our last 3 away games, we picked up 4 points. Gone to Anfield and got a point. We lost to Sunderland, which, from a mad deflection, and, if you draw that game, no one's batting an eyelid. So we've actually done all right in the 2 out of the last 3 games. Picked up 4 points.
Well, there's always been a bit of a narrative that we're better this season, especially that we're better away from home than we are at home, which is not even a narrative. It's just true, isn't it? When you look at the results, we still haven't won at home. Sorry, we still haven't won at home since November. So clearly, there's something about our away forms this season. But look, Sunderland we didn't play especially well. Liverpool, obviously, we fought pretty well to get that point. And Wolves, again, we didn't play especially well, but we got the win. And we scrapped, we fought, and we just got over the line. So I think we can go in this in confidence that even though we're not in front of our home fans, that we can get the result. And we historically have a pretty good record at Villa Park.
Not in recent times. I think they've beaten us 6 games in a row.
What, at Villa Park?
No, just in general.
No, but at Villa Park, I think in the Premier League era, we have a pretty strong record there.
Yeah, but we've lost.
They can't have won 6 in a row.
We've lost 3 out of our last 4 games at Villa Park.
You include
the FA Cup
games, yeah, a couple of cup games in there.
We've lost 3 out of our last 4 games at Villa Park. So recently,
but the other one we won 4-0.
Yeah, well, yeah, we did win 4-0 that. But so recently, Villa have not been a good game for us. We've lost 6 in a row against them, which is mad.
Yeah, but a lot of the players who won in that 4-0 are still here, probably. Actually, how many actually going to be playing? Probably not that many.
So that lineup was Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogi, Bissouma Sarr, Decky, Madders, Johnson, and Son. It's about half the team still there. But there are more players still available than the ones that lost against Aston Villa, not the ones that won 4-0 there.
Look, okay, recent times that they've done pretty well against us. I'm just saying Villa Park historically has been a pretty good place for us.
Yeah. Like from 22 before and prior, we were very good at Villa Park.
We always, I feel like we always seem to play pretty well against Villa, even when we lose, I feel.
I don't know. I remember going there last year in the Cup, and I thought we were tragic that day with Matisse Tell. Was it his debut? He scored.
Yeah. That was a difficult one, but I thought in the Cup this year we should have got some. We might have been able to win
at Tottenham.
I know we were 2-0 down, but we should have turned
second
that around.
half we were decent. Yeah,
we played well. I thought early in the season we lost them with a late goal, but again I thought that was quite an even game. Played fairly well in that game. Last season we
were terrible.
We beat them 4-1 at the Lane.
Yeah, I'm talking about Villa Park. We were terrible.
Villa Park, yeah, but again, we weren't interested in that game. But yeah, we won good. No, actually, if you remember that game, a lot of people were praising us in that game because we defended really well for like an hour. And we actually kept them really quiet before, obviously, they got their goal. But we were... but again, it wasn't like the worst performance, actually. But again, it was a game where we rested a lot of players.
Yeah.
Season before that, obviously, we won 4-0 at Villa Park, and then at home we battered them and somehow contrived to lose that game. I remember we had loads of chances. I think Son had a hat-trick of offside goals.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of
this game Bentancur got.
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of the games we've actually played quite well, and maybe they've gotten quite fortunate, Villa, to win a lot of the majority of those games.
Look, give me Villa playing better than us and us getting the 3 points any day. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how we play. We just need to get the result. We need to put those moments away. We need to get those moments, and we need to stamp our authority from set pieces. That's where we're going to win this game. And I really do believe that the implications of the second leg next week is going to be massive. I really do. I think it's going to play so much into this game. Because surely if you're a Villa player, what do you care about this game? Like, all your head is going to be in the second leg, especially after losing 1-0 in the first leg. I didn't see the game, so I don't know in the manner of the defeat was or anything like that, or how the game went, or if Villa deserved anything more out of it or whatever. But surely their heads are just going to be there on Thursday night.
I think in these scenarios, I feel like that tends to happen more later in the game, like depending on how the game's going. Obviously, once the game starts, you're trying to win the game, but depending on how the game's going, if they're losing by a goal or two going into the last 15, 20 minutes, all of a sudden your head, I think, starts to go, maybe we should just move on from this and full focus on that semi-final, because that's the more important game. And all of a sudden your performance can peter out. But I wouldn't hold too much for the first hour or so. I'm sure they're gonna, obviously we need to be in the lead. If they're winning, they're gonna do everything they can to hang on to it or win the game. I feel like what will most likely happen is they'll try and I think Unai has done this a lot, by the way. They try and score early. They try and get in a commanding lead, and then second half just sit off a bit and invite that pressure. A lot of the time they do succumb to the pressure, but are we going to be good enough to exploit that? At the moment we have to see. But I've seen it with Unai Emery so often. Like, they give it a real good go in the first half, and then second half they just sit off a bit and invite the pressure just sit in a bit more of a lower block and don't really go full on gung ho. So let's just hope we don't give them that advantage in that first half. That's the main thing.
Yeah, and I think that's where Spurs have actually been quite good since Zerbi have come in terms of looking like a solid outfit, looking organised, something that we just didn't look under Igor Tudor by any stretch of the imagination. We were conceding 3-4 goals a game. Now we're conceding 2-3 chances a game, never mind goals. So I know we conceded 2 against Brighton, but Sunderland, they barely laid a glove. We've been talking about how unbusy Kinski's been since coming in, and that's a testament to the way De Zerbi has set us up and how organised we actually look.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Villa, they're a team that you can keep the ball against, but if they're obviously when their press is on it, they are quite difficult. But I think they're one of those teams they congest the pitch, but they can leave a lot of space in behind. So it's all about whether we have the players to find those runners and find the space. And you saw in that game when they played Sunderland, look how much space they left for the Sunderland goals. It was ridiculous. And this is a Sunderland team, by the way. They're not the most creative. They're not the best at creating chances.
They scored 3 goals that day.
They scored 3 goals, and they had that one-on-one to go 4-3 up just before they lost it. So if a team like Sunderland can exploit them with their kind of attack, there's no reason why we can't create chances.
The thing is, though, Sunderland have had a better defence than us all season and conceded 4 goals.
It's also true. Look, Villa also one of those teams where they go through these. They can hit you 2 or 3 quick goals and all of a sudden be out of sight, and they can be very difficult to deal with as well.
Do you think that they will start with their best players? Ollie Watkins, Morgan Rogers, these kind of guys?
I think it'll be a mix and match. I think they'll rest players for sure.
I think Tammy Abraham starts up front.
Yeah.
Jadon Sancho maybe on the wing. Players that haven't really been doing it for that. And I think that'll be a major positive for us.
What's interesting is I was reading a stat posted by a Villa fan. When 2 of Kamara, Tielemans and Onana have started, they have something like a 65% win rate. When only one of them has started, that drops to 25%. Now, Kamara's injured, and Onana went off injured against Forest. So, likely, 2 of the 3 are going to be missing, which is where their where their win
Don't
percentage
start
drops.
with the Dr. Tottenham narrative.
Just saying.
Don't start with the Dr. Tottenham narrative.
Just saying. All of a sudden, we could. I think Bogard came on against.
Now
Forest.
tell us our win stats with and without Javi.
No, I'm not talking about our win stats. It's not about us. I'm just talking about Villa. They don't win as many games when they don't have two of those three starting.
Yeah.
So it does really affect them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they play with
Fair
that mid
point.
block, so there's a lot of focus on that midfield, that middle bit for them.
Yeah. So Onana's probably going to be out for the game. Is Camera fit?
I don't think so. I think he's been out for a while, hasn't he? I think he got injured against us. He got a
Right.
serious injury, didn't he? In that
And
knee
who's
injury.
the other player you said?
Tielemans.
He's fit.
He's fit. He played.
So we're expecting him to
unless
be the
they
only
want to
one
rest him
fit.
unless they want to rest him because he's that important.
Who else can they play in the middle of the park?
I guess you can put McGinn there, but they played him on the wing. They played him on the wing against Forest.
They've been playing Ross Barkley a lot recently.
Ross Barkley.
Douglas Luiz.
He did come on. That's true.
Emi Buendia.
They could play Louise and Tielemans. I've got a feeling they go Louise and Bogard and try and rest Tielemans because Tielemans is so important for Thursday.
So if we just have a look at their lineup that they played against Nottingham Forest. So they went Onana, Tielemans, Rogers in the 10, Buendia and McGinn on the wings, Luca Dean, Pau Torres, Consa, Cash and Martinez. Out of that starting lineup, how many start, do you reckon?
I reckon Martinez starts. I reckon Cash slightly starts.
Not Martin Bizot?
Not Martin Bizot. I reckon Cash starts. I reckon Maatsen on the left. I reckon Mings and Consa will play. I reckon a midfield two of Louise and Bogard. And I reckon the front three will be Sancho, Rogers.
You think Rogers
I
starts?
think Rogers starts. And probably McGinn again. And then Tammy Abraham up front.
I mean, that is a fairly
Strong team.
second string team, though.
Still strong, but it is second string, as we've said. We've said it before. Is their second string better than our first team? Probably. But even though it's look, that's pretty half-half, I would say. And I think it's a good enough team to beat us, but it's also nowhere near as good as, well, not as good as what their first choice would be. And the focus would be winning that midfield battle.
Oh, man.
That's what I would predict their lineup to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not sure. In terms of the players that they had on the bench, what do you not think Leon Bailey? Or did you say Bailey?
I didn't say Bailey. I don't think he starts. He might start. I don't think they start both Sancho and Bailey. I reckon only one of them, but I might be wrong.
Bailey's only been coming off the bench. Last game he started was at home to Chelsea when they lost 4-1.
They might make some early subs, like bring Rogers off on the out.
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff
what
like
I
that.
feel like. Yeah, exactly. I think they might actually go a bit stronger than maybe anticipated. And then in the last half an hour to go, regardless of what the score is, they might make some changes and significant changes.
I think there's a bit. You can go either way. You can either rest players and, if need, bring them on if need be, or start strong and take them off if they're getting tired. I mean, it could go either way. And what was their? Let me see. What lineup did they go with in the last Premier League game?
They went strong. They went in a similar lineup, very similar lineup to the Sunderland game. Oh, I was looking at the Sunderland game, not the Fulham game, but I think that was similar
Fulham
as well.
was they started Bogard and Tielemans,
Yeah,
and then other than that, it's unchanged.
yeah.
So I think even more so, the fact they went unchanged will mean that third game they will probably make a few changes.
They have to, surely.
They will. I think they will make a few changes. But I think it'll be a bit of a mix and match.
Look, it's going to be a difficult game regardless. Whether they make changes, whether they don't make changes. Even if they have their eye off the ball a little bit, it's still going to be a really difficult game because of the way Spurs are coming into the game. So we just need to have our wits about us. We need to carry on with this great organisation and structure that we've had, not conceding too many chances. And we've got to try and nick a few down the other end. What are they like at conceding? And
Against Sunderland, they made a few changes.
what are they like at defending set pieces at Aston Villa? That's what I want to
They're
know.
good at scoring them. I know. Well, they used to be good at scoring them. At defending set pieces, I don't know where you'd see those stats. Set piece goals.
Well, against
Premier League.
Sunderland, they had Mings at the back and Maatsen. Onana, Tielemans, and then Barkley in the 10.
Yeah, so they rested a few players. Again, it was a bit of a mix and match.
I'll be disappointed if their team's stronger than that.
I anticipate something similar to that. Maybe. Let's see. Set pieces. Here we go. Goals. They are in the top half of goals scored. Doesn't say conceded.
Go to
though.
defending, no?
There's defending.
It says attacking on the top. There's a drop-down bar.
Ah, yeah. Set pieces. They're about
mid-table.
10 goals conceded from
About
set
mid-table.
pieces.
Because I do believe that's where we're going to get our goals on the weekend. Unless we can start fast, because we have been looking good in the opening 10, 15 minutes of games. If we can score in that period, I think that will do us the world of good. But can you envisage us getting back in the game if we concede early? I just can't see it.
That's the thing. Obviously, we've said it so many times, we haven't won a game when we've been behind this season. And Villa are quite good at managing games, I felt. I mean, they do let teams back in it as well, but they are quite good at also regaining control. He's a very good tactician, Unai Emery. Obviously, we do not have great options off the bench, especially attacking-wise. So if the team we start with isn't good enough to take advantage and we're behind, do we have the players on the bench to change it in a good enough way to actually turn it around and win the game? I question that. Do we have players to come on and keep a result? I think we have those players. But do we have players to come on and change a game to win us a game? That's what I worry about.
Yeah. So I think the first half is going to be vitally important.
Yeah, agreed.
Vitally important.
And especially as well, given the fact that they've got another semi-final, they played on Thursday as well. Will they start to tire a bit come the second half? I think keeping them at bay, even if it's 0-0 half time, that could be big for us.
I agree. Man, it's going to be an absolute roller coaster this weekend. Like I mentioned, the games that are coming this weekend, so vital. I think I'm not expecting Spurs to win this weekend, obviously, for obvious reasons. But I think we can win this weekend with everything going into it.
It's given us a chance, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And look, like I said before, this game is not going to be at the forefront of Villa's players and fans' mind. So we just need to go in there, concentrate on ourselves, and hopefully be able to get some sort of edge. You know, we spoke about in the Wolves game. I know it's a very different game, but the how much it means if a team wants it more than the other team. And surely we're going to want this more than this Villa side going into it on Sunday. You've got to believe that.
Should mean more to us. It's
Much more
to us.
Much more to us. And also on the flip side of that, against Wolves, we played a team that's going to come up in a low block. We're not going to be playing a team that come up in a low block. We're going to play a team that is going to play a high line and will be able to get those high turnovers and press them high up the pitch. But they don't play the same way as Brighton, but it's more similar to Brighton than it is to Wolves. So there are going to be opportunities for us on the day. Villa do give up opportunities. It's just going to be up to us to take them.
I have a feeling, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Conor Gallagher has a pretty good record at Villa Park.
Does he?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
I've got memories of Conor Gallagher scoring quite a few goals at Villa Park. Do you remember that, Sammy? I think didn't he score a few? I think so. I remember. Didn't he score a free kick at Villa Park?
No idea.
I think for Chelsea in his last two appearances. Here you go. What's this? Got They drew 2-2. There you go. He scored a goal in
Conor Gallagher.
2024.
Conor Gallagher record against Villa. He's played 10, 1-2, lost 2, 1-2, lost 4, drawn 4, with 2 goals.
2 goals.
Doesn't have a good record against them.
A couple of goals.
Yeah, but he's very rarely on the winning side against Villa.
I'm not saying winning. Huh?
Scored the only goal in a 1-0 win against them in the FA Cup.
In the FA Cup, and then he scored. I remember in a 2-2 draw, a really nice goal. I remember he scored.
Yeah.
So he's got previous there, Conor Gallagher. He's got previous there.
Yeah, I don't think that means much, to be honest.
Why not? It's sometimes muscle memory when you've been at a ground before.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But look, we just need to get the result, man, by hook or by crook. Don't let us down, man. Take that manager fight from the press conference, the fight that he's showing on the training ground, and take that onto the pitch and just show the same fight that Zerbi's showing right now, and I think we'll be all right. I do think we'll be all right if we show that level of fight.
Well, I think he's putting the good message into the players, and I think they're gonna take to that. And I think they've been really enjoying him and really enjoying his training sessions. I think that's been a lot of the reports at the moment, that they seem a lot more inspired, and it seems the training is much better than it was. And obviously on the pitch, we're seeing much better. We're seeing a lot better performances in general. So I think gives ourselves half a chance. Villa, whatever side Villa put out, it's going to be a very difficult game, and it's going to be very tough to win it. But imagine the confidence it would give them if we do win this game.
Yeah, I think if we win this game, we'll stay up. I genuinely believe that. Because if we win this game, regardless of the West Ham, let's say we win and West Ham win, fine, it's as you were. But then we play Leeds at home. That will give us so much confidence to play Leeds at home. The stadium's going to be buzzing. Leeds will probably be safe because they play Burnley. And then West Ham got to go play Arsenal. So there's the kind of opportunity where you can see. And if we win and West Ham drop points, then even more so. It compounds that, doesn't it? So I do think if we win this, we're going to stay up.
100, not 100%, but yeah, I think so. Especially if one of the other two drop points, I think it really gives us that little bit more momentum that we need. And especially, it's so important, I feel, after getting our first win, we back it up with something, because we can't let a momentum dissipate.
Yeah.
And especially as well, if we can back up the last one with another win off the back of getting 2 more injuries as well, the belief that we'll have in the camp is massive, absolutely massive.
Exactly.
You overcome that adversity.
Yeah.
It's absolutely enormous.
Exactly. So massive day. Sim will be in the studio on the watch along with a debutante watch along host. It goes by the name of Harry Scarf alongside Sim. I'll be there at Villa Park as well. It's going to be a long day on Sunday, 7 o'clock kickoff. So I've got to go through the whole weekend of football plus the whole day on Sunday and wait till 7 o'clock kickoff. So let us know your score predictions. What's your score prediction?
I am going to go 1-1.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 1-1.
I think in Predict the Prem we both predicted 1-1, didn't we?
I actually predicted us to lose.
You predicted us to lose. Oh,
yeah.
so you're going up on one.
Yeah, getting my Delulu on.
I see. You saw Zerbi's press conference. You're like, we ain't fucking losing this one.
We ain't losing. We're getting something out of this. We're coming away with something. That's what I feel.
Kick your teacher said, you said 2-1, Sim, you flip-flop.
I said 1-0.
Now, I think we take a point from this game. I think it means a lot more from us. I think Villa are going to have one eye on that Europa League semi-final. I think Spurs can take something. So, yeah, I'm going 1-1. Sim's going 1-1. Let us know your predictions in the comments section below. We're going to move on to the predicted lineup, and let's go and take a look at the team news going into the game.
Yeah, so a doggy should be fit for this game, but he's not sure if he's going to be fit enough to start. In terms of the injuries, obviously Solanke we know is ruled out for at least a few weeks with a hamstring injury. Xavi Simons now ruled out for the rest of the season. Vicario is still unavailable due to the hernia operation. Pape Sarr, I didn't mention Sarr, which probably is a bad thing, and he wasn't seen in training, so we're going to assume he is still out. Obviously we know Romero, Odobert, Davis, Kudus, and Kulusevski all probably out for the season. And then Maddison is in the squad, not injured, unlikely to feature, but is getting closer to match minutes.
So 10 players out, well, 9.5 I would say, because there's all that chance that Maddison might, but probably won't. But let's get into the lineup. We're going to go 4-3-2-1 as per usual.
4-2-3-1.
4-2-3-1 as per usual. And in goal will be Antonin Kinski, done very well since stepping in. I envisage potentially he could have a bit of a busier day in this game than he has done in the previous 3 games. But he's earned his spot. Even though Vicario's injured, he's earned it. Even if Vicario's back, I would probably say persist with Kinski.
Yeah, last year I remember in the FA Cup at Villa Park he made a howler. But then if I remember rightly, I think did he not also play in the game we lost in the league and then actually had a decent game in that game?
In that game when we lost to Villa in the FA Cup, he made a howler to concede a goal, but actually he saved us a lot that game
Yeah.
as well. He made save after save after save. So
Did he play the game in the league as well? I think he also played in the league.
potentially, I'm not sure.
And then I actually think in that game he played quite well. I don't know if my memory is avoiding me. Anyway, I think we're all a bit more comfortable now with Kinski, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely.
After what was, he did play, and he did play well. Made quite a
He
number
just
of saves.
impacts
5
the
saves
game.
he made.
Yeah, and how many did he make in the FA Cup game? So I remember he made a hell of a lot of saves in the FA Cup game as well. Even though he did make a howler on the day, like I remember coming away thinking, "Wow, Kinski, as much as he was crap in the opening 20 minutes, I thought he did really well after that."
Oh, it's the wrong game. He also. I remember. You're right. He actually did really well in that game as well. But I think after there was, here we go. Yeah, he made 5 saves as well in that game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think let's hope he continues his good form and continues building his confidence.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
So go Kinski in goal, right back Pedro Porro, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I want to see more from him on the ball. We know he's capable of it. I think his crossing and his passing, look, he's been up and down, I would say, over the past 3 games. But if anyone in that back line is really going to penetrate and help with the build-up, it's going to be him.
I feel like as well the way Villa play with that kind of very narrow pitch, but with a high line, very congested. I think those little dinks from Porro is going to be super important. You see it, he always looks for it, doesn't he? He always looks up and looks those little dinks in behind.
When we won 4-0 there, wasn't he really important in that game? Didn't he get an assist or a pre-assist or something with doing that? I can't remember, but I remember something vaguely.
I think
like
usually Romero's quite important in those games because he has that little dink over the top he's really good at. But I think Porro's going to have to use that ability, that passing ability, to try and get us in behind as much as possible. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if you see Porro continually trying to play those balls over the top, like he has been doing a lot.
Right centre back Kevin Danso. Look, I think Danso's been all right since coming in for Romero. Obviously, the end of the Brighton game let him down massively, let the team down massively. And if my
Kinski did bail him out.
yeah, Kinski bailed him out last game as well. But if I remember rightly, if my memory serves, he was the one that gave away the foul for the free kick. Just
Might have done, yeah.
for the because that was a needless foul to give away at that stage of the game as well. So there were some iffy moments in there from Danso, but I think by and large, apart from those little big moments, I think he's been all right.
Yeah, I think he's been pretty good at what he's good at, which is clearing the ball away and using his big head to head things away. So just needs to keep doing that, I guess. Yeah.
Mickey van der Ven, obviously, at left centre-back, he's going to be captain on the day. And I think he's been a lot better since Roberto De Zerbi has come in. Maybe he's found a manager that he can actually believe in and get behind. And I can see his attitude has definitely got a lot better. And that's kind of being shown in his performances as well.
100%. I think he's definitely taking more responsibility. He's definitely leading a lot better than he was. He was definitely in a bit of a funk, you know, in like January, February time, March time. Getting sent off and all that, but since Zerbi's come in, he's got his head screwed on again, and let's just hope he takes it into this game. Could he go on one of his mazy runs with Villa's high line, catch him out?
Let's do it, mate.
Come
Let's
on.
get Mickey van der Ven on the afterburners. Left back is interesting because he's spoken about a doggy maybe being fit enough to start, maybe not. Seeing him at some point in the game, is he going to start or is he going to go with Jed Spence?
I've got a feeling it will be a doggy, you know. I've got a
Just
feeling
because of those Bentacle comments.
Not necessarily. I think first of all that, but also because I think he's very important, and I think if we can have him on for about an hour, and then maybe Spence can come on after that, I think that's probably a better situation. I think he's gonna start him.
All right, let's go for
That's
a
my
doggy.
feeling.
I want him to start, so I'm happy to have him in that back line. So that's the back line. Porro, Danso, Van der Ven, and Destiny Udogie. In the midfield, the first name on the team sheet has got to be Rodrigo Bentancur. Been a breath of fresh air since coming into the team. Adds that composure, that calmness that we've been missing so much. And he's able to pass it, you know. And I think he's been controlling games.
And hopefully he can lay one into Matty Cash, because I think Cash has it coming when it comes to Bentancur. I think he's going to be super, super important, because if Villa, if we are theorising he might have a rested midfield. I think dominating that midfield battle is going to be super, super crucial in this game. And having someone like Bentancur on top of his game and being able to, on the ball, spin out of trouble, play the ball in behind, dominate physically as well. I think he could do that with the players that we're feeling Villa might play. So I think he could be absolutely crucial in this game.
And alongside Bentancur, it's actually a decision to make for Roberto De Zerbi, because Bissouma has been his tried and tested over the last couple of games, but Paulinho came in, made the biggest impact of them all, scoring from the set piece. We won 1-0, and he's actually our top scoring midfielder in the league this season.
He is, amazingly.
So, which way do you think he's going to go? I mean, I've been saying all week that I want to see Paulinho, but I got a feeling he's going to go with Bissouma.
Obviously, Sarr's out, so he's not an option. The other two would be Bergvall or Gray, but I don't think he's going to play either of them, actually. I do think it's a straight shootout between Paulinho and Bissouma. I personally want Bissouma, but I was listening to his press conference and he was rattling off names of, he was like talking about, we were talking about the injuries that we have, and then he was saying, let's not think about that. Let's think of the players we do have. We have this one, without that one. And then he was talking about, and he said Porro, Van der Ven, Doggy, Bentancur, and then he said Paulinho, and then Gallagher, and Moani and Richarlison. He didn't say Bissouma. So then I'm thinking, okay, is that subconscious? He's rattling those names because he knows he's going to start Paulinho. But then he did do that again, and then he did say Bissouma. So I was like, maybe it will be Bissouma. Obviously, I'm trying to read into what he's saying subconsciously. You got to try and do that when you're listening to press conferences. But you mentioned Paulinho first before you said Bissouma. I personally want him to play Bissouma, and I think the super sub role of Paulinho is something that's working. So, and I think the double pivot Bissouma and Bentancur is largely working at the moment, so I wouldn't want to mess with it. But I also understand the call for Paulinho because he does have stuff that Bissouma doesn't give, which could be good. I think we'd have more control of the game if we played Bissouma, put it that way.
I think he will go with Bissouma. I think the midfield has been okay in the last 2-3 games. I don't think Bissouma's actually playing that well at this moment in time, but I do think Bentancur and Bissouma do have a good relationship. So
I think it gives us better balance.
I think he's going to stick with it. And, you know, we all remember when Bentancur and Paulinho were together first half of the season, we were like, they can never play together ever again. But De Zerbi's De Zerbi, and it's something fresh and new. But, yeah, I do think he's going to stick with these two. I'd prefer to see Paulinho, though.
I think it gives us better balance. I think it gives us more control on the ball, for sure, with those two. And I think if need be, you know, you bring on the steel and the grit of Paulinho late in the game, if especially he's a threat from set pieces. I think starting the game with Bissouma makes more sense to me.
Fair enough. Who would you prefer to see, though? Would you prefer to see Bissouma or Paulinho start this game? I do feel in the 10 he's going to persist with Conor Gallagher. I think with Conor, I think his endeavour off the ball and what he gives us off the ball has definitely improved since De Zerbi has come in. I think no one can question that. But I think what he gives us on the ball has just been much of the same, to be honest, since pre-De Zerbi and post-De Zerbi. So I want to see more of Conor Gallagher on the ball. I want to see him being more of a goal threat. I want to see him making those late runs into the box. But off the ball, I don't think we can fault him right now.
Yeah, he's working his socks off. We know that. Absolutely massive hard worker. But 100%, he was known before he came as a player who can make the difference in the final third, who can make those late runs in the box, who can get on the end of things, crosses and stuff. We just haven't seen that anywhere near enough. I think there have been glimpses of it. I thought in the Brighton game a few times he was getting in the box and trying things, but just didn't come off quite. He had a couple of shots blocked and stuff and didn't quite make the right decisions. So I thought he was getting in better positions than against Wolves. We just didn't see it at all. So
in this game, there'll be more of opportunity for it.
I think so.
Because against Sunderland and against Wolves, they're very much low block defensive first teams, whereas Brighton and Villa are like high line teams.
Exactly. So hopefully he can take the chances that come to him in this one.
Now we move on to the forward line. And this is the $1 million question. Who is going to start in this forward line?
I think it's pretty simple.
To be honest, it probably is pretty simple because we've only got three fit forwards.
I think if we're judging by what De Zerbi's saying,
then
I think it's obvious.
De Zerbi might not mean what he says. He might, be throwing in something there and play something else.
He's not.
What I mean?
He never said he's going to play them, but I think you can read into what he's saying that he is going to play them.
Yeah.
And that three would be Moani, Richarlison, and Tell. That's what I think.
I think those three will play, but just because he mentions them doesn't mean they're definitely going to start and definitely going to play.
It doesn't, but I think if you look, you try and do. Obviously, we watch these press conferences and you try your best to read into what is being said, and that's why I read into it that he's going to play them.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard to try and do that, but
Of course.
there are different ways he can play it. Is he going to go Moani up top, Richarlison on the left, Tell on the right? Is he going to go Tell off the left, Moani off the right, and Richarlison up top? That's probably the most likely scenario, with Richarlison up top, Moani on the right, and Tell on the left. I mean, Moani has been horrific on the right-hand side. He really has. Richarlison, he hasn't been great in recent weeks either. Tell, very up and down as well. So I mean, out of those three players, who's gonna be the one to deliver for us?
In a weird way, this kind of game might call for Moani up front, just because he's got the most pace out of all those three, and he's the most likely to get in behind. But I do think a front three of Tell on the left, Moani on the right, and Richarlison up front probably gives us the best balance. I think putting Moani up front, I don't like what it does to the other two, because it probably means you have to play Tell on the right, and because you have to play Richarlison on the left, and I think it almost nullifies the wings a bit too much. Whereas I think if you've got Tell on the left, Moani on the right, you've got a bit more balance there with Richarlison up front. So I do think he's probably going to go that way, in my opinion. I mean, it could be, because all three of them are pretty versatile in theory. They can all play in all three positions. Well, apart from maybe Richarlison playing on the right, all three of them can play in all the positions. So it could be a kind of anything, really. But I think the best balance is Moani on the right, Tell on the left, and Rishi up front. That's my thinking.
I do think he's going to go that way. I think out of those three, what would I prefer to see? I'm not sure. I think it's such a hard one because none of them are playing well right now, really. Like we can praise Tell's endeavour and his work rate, but he's not getting goal contributions, which is the main thing right now. None of these guys are getting goal. I mean, Richarlison got an assist on the weekend against Wolves, fair enough, but I don't know. I do think he's going to go this way. If it was up to me, I wouldn't start Moani. I'll put Bergvall in there somewhere, and get him just pressing the shit out of Ezri Konsa, whoever it would be, at centre back. And you saw how vital that was when Bergvall came off the bench against Brighton, and he was able to nick the ball off Van Hecker. If anyone is going to provide a magic moment for us like Javi did against Brighton, it's probably going to be Matisse Tell.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that, because I know Richarlison works his socks off and he can get into those poacher positions, but in terms of cutting inside and trying to take a shot like that, I think Tell's the only one capable of it.
Just trying things,
and
putting himself in a position to try things, because he's actually been quite. I've noticed definitely since this season, I think, compared to last season, he's a lot better at keeping the ball and actually creating scenarios where he's in positions to get shots or crosses and whatever. I thought last season he was losing the ball way too easily, even at periods at the beginning of this season as well. He was quite weak on the ball. He wasn't shielding it well. I think he's actually massively improved in that. Now, obviously, the next stage is being really effective when he gets in those positions, when he gets the chance to shoot.
Doesn't have long to do it in.
Not obviously, but I'm saying his development as a player. That's the next stage for him. But I think he's been a lot better at creating scenarios for himself and his dribbling ability and holding players off. So I think if anything is going to happen, and if any special moment, it probably will come from him, and we just got to keep feeding him the ball, I feel, and hopefully take cash on and cause problems.
Yeah. So that is our lineup, our predicted lineup. Let us know yours in the comment section below. But we are going for Anthony Kinski in goal, Pedro Porro right back, Destiny Udogie left back, a back two of Danso and Mickey van der Ven, Bentancur, Bissouma and Conor Gallagher in midfield, Randall Kolo Muani on the right, Matisse Tell on the left, and Richarlison up top. So let us know your predicted in the comment section below. Let us know your score lines in the comment section below, and come and join Sim on the watch along Sunday 6:45. He'll be going live, and I'll be bringing you all the content from inside Villa Park on what is going to be a nervy night. We've got a couple of super chats just to finish off the show with. First one here from Molo saying, can't Muani on the right again? Can't, mustn't, please.
Can't put Moani on the right. Look, I understand that. I understand it. I can't really say anything against it, to be honest, because he has been shocking. But unfortunately, he needs must at the moment. But yeah, I mean, if there was any other option, I wouldn't. But I think it is the best option, to be honest.
And Steve Johnson says, not a Spurs fan, but this game sets up well for you. I'm betting at least a draw. Villa has been average at best of late.
It is true. They haven't been great recently.
I thought they were really poor against Fulham last weekend.
They have been a bit out of sorts. You know, they did lose to Forest as well. The Sunderland game, they nearly gave up a 3-1 lead. Forest away, before that, they weren't particularly good in that game. But they did beat West Ham, lost to United.
They comprehensively beat West Ham.
Lost 4-1 at home to Chelsea. Liam Rossini's Chelsea.
Yeah. That was their last win.
Chelsea's last win, yeah. Lost 2-0 away at Wolves. You know? Drew 1-1 at home to Leeds. They haven't been fantastic recently.
Yeah. I do feel like with the way the fixtures are setting up, it is kind of falling for us right now in terms of Villa have the Europa League, Chelsea have the FA Cup. You know, we're played 3 days after an FA Cup final. Like, you can't really ask for much more.
100%. We just got to make sure we take advantage of it.
Yeah. And we're playing Leeds the weekend after. They might be pretty much safe if they beat Burnley as well. So every fixture you look at.
But in a weird way, would you rather Leeds win today, so the game means nothing, or would you rather Leeds lose? And if we win, we could potentially go... We could actually beat Leeds to go level on points with them,
I'd rather Leeds, of course Leeds lose tonight. 100%. 100%. We need to drag as many...
But then it means more for them, and maybe they'll be...
Yeah, 100% it means more for them. But we got to win this weekend to ask it to make a difference anyway. So if we win today, if we win this weekend, and let's say Leeds lose, that gives us a lot of confidence, and that brings a lot of nerves onto Leeds.
Even if Leeds draw tonight, I think that puts them in a really good position.
Yeah.
They need to lose.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll be there. We'll be watching it. No watch along for Leeds tonight, but we are doing a hate along for West Ham tomorrow, 3 o'clock kickoff. So come and join us for that. And we'll see you there, people. We'll go live probably around 2:45, 10 to 3, around about that time, supporting the Brentford. And we'll see where we go from there. But thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.